Welcome back to your Arkansas football recruiting report with the one and the only Otis Kirk. Otis, I know you are busy today covering softball. Unfortunately, we just saw Arkansas finishing their season with a loss to Oregon, and I'm sure you will have an article up on that on hogville.net, right, on the recap of
Yeah,
softball.
we'll have articles from it, yes. So yeah, yeah, it was a game where it got away from Arkansas and they just couldn't recover, and then a walk-off grand slam during the last thing. I think Arkansas had to play 2 games yesterday, so it used up their pitching, so it really extended their pitching staff. They used 4 today. I believe it was 4. If not, it was 5. I believe it was 4.
Yeah, I think you're right with 4. I was counting, Shanice Dales, Callie Turner, Hannah Cammons, and Robin Heron, right, coming in at the end. So 4, I think you're right. But again, if you want to read about Arkansas softball, you can go ahead and go to hogville.net. Otis Kirk has you covered there with the recap of what happened in that game today. But Otis, it's called the Arkansas Football Recruiting Report for a reason. Let's talk about Arkansas football right now. We have a lot going on. We have a lot of commits this week from the transfer portal. Even let's start off with Amari Wiggins. He is from Coffeyville Community College, right? Coffeyville
Yeah,
Community College, and he is
yes.
an O lineman. So tell us about him.
He has got 3 years to play 3. He narrowed it down to Arkansas, Illinois, Penn State, Texas A&M, and Miami. Visited last Monday, and he's committed to Arkansas. Big time. He was their number 1 target left in the transfer portal. Not the transfer portal as much, junior college. Sam counts the JUCO kids pretty much like transfer portal kids. They're all coming in, as transfers. But so he's actually from JUCO, not transfer portal, but basically the same thing. But yeah, a nice pickup, 6'3", 310, can play center and guard, and that's somebody they're counting on. That's what they were actually looking for, someone that could come in and compete with Bo Limmer at the center and be flexible enough to play guard, too, if they needed him. So, yeah, it'll be interesting there.
Yeah, definitely a good pickup for Arkansas. There was a couple of more that we have to talk about. Keon Stewart, a cornerback, from TCU. He is coming from the transfer portal. What can you tell us about him?
Well, he got injured some this year, but this is a kid that started 6 games as a true freshman at TCU. Excuse me. And he obviously made an impact at TCU, got hurt this year, but yeah, with not having Quincy McAdoo, this really helps to get Keon. They've gotten other corners, but getting an experienced kid like Keon that played for TCU, a team that played for the national championship, is big. He's 6 foot 185. As I said, he battled some injuries this year, but he had 14 tackles, 13 of them were solo, fumble recovery, and 3 pass breakups. So, he's just someone that's experienced, got a lot of experience, and that's what they're needing back there in the back. He had numbers and experience and talent, and he's got all that. So he's someone to look for to play this fall, definitely make an impact this fall, whether it's starting or just in a key reserve role, but whatever. He's someone that can really help this team.
And like you said, Otis, with Quincy McAdoo and that injury, getting in that car accident earlier, last month? Was it this month? I can't even remember now. It just feels so recent.
I believe it was May the 1st, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was earlier this month.
May the 1st. Yeah, so 3 weeks, basically 3 weeks ago.
Wow, that's crazy.
3 weeks tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken.
You actually had an update on our website about him. For people that haven't read that article, what is the update? The most recent update on Quincy McAdoo?
Yeah, it doesn't look good. Football's probably not in the cards for this fall. He should be able to play again. Right now, their basic key with him is get him healthy. He's been in the hospital for a long time, and they're wanting to get him healthy and get him. That's the main concern with Quincy, is just get him healthy and get him back in good health, and not so much worry about football right now. Courtney is more of a injury deal. Just thinking of the kid first, not so much.
Oh, for sure. And we're all sending prayers his way right now, especially when it comes to getting better, making sure that he gets out of the hospital and keeps on that recovery journey. Thank you for that update, Otis. We do have more recruits to talk about, or commits, excuse me. Chris Rhodes, a DB from Butler Community College. What can you tell us about him?
Another kid from Kansas, about 6 foot 183, another kid that can play corner, probably play safety if he needed to. He started out kind of at South Dakota State, decided to leave there after 2021, played there 1 year, decided to leave there to bet on himself, went to Butler, played 4 games, got off to a good start, and then he got injured. He had 8 tackles. 7 of them were solo and an interception, but then he got hurt his knee, and didn't get to play anymore this season. So he'll be at Arkansas, and he'll have 3 years to play. He's a kid that kind of, I guess you say, bet on himself. You know, he left the scholarship situation at South Dakota State thinking he could play above that level. And he went to Butler, and now he's going to be at Arkansas. So he kind of bet on himself, and then it paid off. So we'll see how it works out for him at Arkansas. But yeah, he's a good defensive back. He's kind of like a lot of these others. There's just a lot of numbers there, and they needed there. First, they lost a lot of kids to the transfer portal in the secondary. Second, they had the bad luck with Quincy. Third, they weren't that good in the secondary last year for the most part, and so they needed some help there. They needed help. Dwight McLaughlin, Quincy, Hudson Clark were all returning, and before the wreck, but Al Walcott, Snacks Johnson are some kids they signed early. Jaheim Singletary will be here from Georgia. So they've got a lot of new players coming in. Walcott was not available this spring, but I'm telling you, he's a big-time player. He is a big-time player from Baylor. So that's somebody to keep an eye on. So anyway, this is, that should work out fine there.
Hey, it's always good to be stacked in that room. I really do, especially with what happened last year. I know a lot of Hog fans agree with me there that it's never bad to have the numbers there, especially when you have injuries to the secondary that come up throughout the year, and especially with what happened last year. Again,
exactly.
can't say no to having players in that room. And really quickly before we let you go, Otis, we do have a high school recruit to talk about in Jaden Baugh, an athlete from Decatur, Columbia, Georgia. Is that right?
Yeah, yes. He committed this week. I don't remember the exact day. Courtney, I'm sorry. There's traffic in and out where I'm at here, but it's kind of I'm in a speed zone here. But they beat Florida, Georgia Tech, South Carolina, and Louisville for him. He's 6'1", 214. Probably played running back. Just a good ball player and solid. And I said Sam, Jimmy Smith, and those guys have done a good job recruiting Georgia.
Oh, they definitely have. Thank you so much for joining us, as always, Otis. And we'll have another episode of the Arkansas Football Recruiting Report for you next Sunday. Thank you so much, Otis, for joining us.
Thank you.